In the previous video, I talked about how I was going to do my Playfield inserts, so a little bit different. Uh, a lot of times when people are doing these inserts, what they'll use is Forstner bits, and those they leave a nice edge. They don't splinter well, or they don't splinter up a lot. Typically, what they'll do, like if you're doing, for instance, like this, a 1-inch insert. This is what I've got here. Printed this out on a 3D printer. For a 1-inch insert, you take a 1-inch Forstner bit, bore a hole into where you want. For this one, the depth would be about 0.22 2/10 of a little over 2/10 of an inch, to get it down to the point where it's just barely above the playfield, so you can sand it down a little bit. You would do that, like I said, with the 1-inch Forstner, and then what you do is you come back in with a 7/8 inch Forstner after that, bore out the center part of it so that the LED or whatever you're using to light it up can shine through it. The problem I had with that was I was using one of those portable drill guides, and they're not accurate. They have all kinds of variation in them. And I typically find that either the insert was a little bit off, it'd be sticking up on one side more than the other because I couldn't get it quite square, or other types of issues with it that I just wasn't happy with. So I ended up, I like using routers, and I've got one of those little compact trim routers with a plunge base on it. It works pretty nice. So what I did was created up a template. And I'm going to look at my little sheet here. What I did was I took and I bored a 1.5 inch hole into, in this case I have 2 pieces of wood glued together, and there's a reason for that. I'll get into that in a minute. I bored that 1.5 inch hole in here, and then I took a router bushing. The bushing that I used was a 1-inch outside diameter bushing, and then I took a 1/2 inch router bit that had a bearing on it. I believe this one was a top bearing. In fact, I'm positive it's top bearing. And I just took that and clamped that template down to the playfield. Took that, set the depth on it to that 0.2 of an inch for the depth on it. Once I found where the playfield surface was, 2/10 lower than that. And I took and I just routed that out, and that got me the part where I would push it down just kind of almost flush. And then I came back through, I changed the router bit to a 3/8 inch bit to move it in a little bit, to leave a lip there for I was going to cut through for the LED to shine through. Took that 3/8 inch bit, ran that all the way down in, cut that all the way through the playfield at that point in time. It did work fairly well. There's a little tiny variation. Some of them, sometimes it'd be a little tight going in. On occasion it would just snug in just like I wanted. That actually worked pretty well in my opinion. The biggest mistake I made in doing that was doing the LED, the inserts for the guidelines up there. The biggest mistake I made was I went through and did each one of where I took that 2/10 of an inch out, went across, and then I realized after I did that, when I came back to do the 3/8 to go down all the way through the playfield, that it was going to be a little hard lining them up. And sure enough, it's like they kind of were varying back and forth. Could have done it in a two-step process on each one. Kept it clamped, kept that template clamped, and just changed the bit, and I wouldn't have had that issue. It would have meant changing the bit, but I mean, that's not the end of the world. Next time around, that's what I'll do. But it did work nicely on that. I was able to, this weekend, so I got all the inserts in for the guidelines up there. I routed out the places for the switches, the rollover switches, and I even started working on a kickout hole. That didn't quite, I still got some problems with that one a little bit. What I suspect is going to happen, I tried to line it up so that you could get a straight shot from the flipper over here and get up there and hit the hole, and the idea was then that I would kind of try to aim it with the kickout to hit the slingshot over here to give me some more action on it when it came back out. And I think I kind of got it just a little bit when I mounted it. I got it a little twisted a little bit more than I intended. And it looks like it comes pretty close to the tip of the flipper down there, or maybe right even towards the center. We'll find out. when I get the solenoid kicking on it to see, because I was just doing it by hand, and that's not going to give it the same kind of force that a solenoid kick would. So it may hit closer to that slingshot there. Anyway, that's where I'm at with this, to keep making slow progress with it. So next time I've got an update on it, I'll shoot another video.